damn it, fella. Look here.
Stand by.
One for C-Lab, two for Draw Ego, three for Wolverine to round out the trio. In this episode, everybody dies.
Broadcasting live from inside the Power Band, this is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, the Mulver Kev, along with my super heroic friends, Jar Bengo.
Okay. Yeah. Hey.
And Chad Lab.
What's up?
That's right, folks. We're back. We're back in a big way. We're back with a vengeance. We're back with a hunger for science fiction. And to that end, this week, we're talking about the 2007 classic, Sunshine, starring Cillian Murphy, directed by Danny Boyle, and
Written by Garland.
a whole bunch of
Are you
really
doing the movie voice guy?
I am, written by Alex Garland, also starring Wong from Doctor Strange and Mark
America.
Strong and Cliff Curtis and Rose Byrne and Matt Pinfield from 120 Minutes. We're
Desire.
And Captain
Let's
America.
hear from and Captain America himself, Chris Evans.
Yeah, they went from
Now-
movie guy straight into MTV shock
Pinfield.
jock. I like it.
Yeah, Matt Pinfield.
Yeah.
Action.
Let's start with some high level with Jarhigo.
Desire.
Go ahead, Jarhigo. Give us your high level.
Do I have to go first?
No, Chad, go.
High level. I enjoy this movie.
Riveting.
It is a classic for me. It came out from my perception at least, a bit of a dearth of kind of like harder or good or non-PP laser sci-fi. And I was really looking forward to it when it came out. And when it came out, I enjoyed it and definitely have always kind of had issues with the whole third act twist, which it seems like a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've come to terms with that and, mellowed in my my seething animosity. And I definitely really appreciate, the beauty of the cinematography and, the characters, the cast is rock solid. The music is amazing. One of my favorite bands in the world, Underworld, was a huge part of the soundtrack. So, well, maybe not band, but group or whatever, electronic group. And I definitely dug watching it this time around. So during the watch, I was kind of grumbly about the third act thing, but I really dove in and kind of read a bunch of shit and saw a bunch of shit from people that I respect and tried to understand the other perspective, and I feel like I do. So I'm a little bit more stoked about it even after watching it. So that's it.
There you have it, folks. Chad giving us a bunch of shit about a bunch of shit that he watched about this movie. Let's talk to Jarhigo now.
I think I would echo all of that more or less. I was pleasantly surprised to find that I actually owned this for this
nice.
watching
Oh, nice.
digitally, but I
mean,
own it.
Oh,
So
nice.
apparently the last time I decided to watch it, I just pulled the trigger on buying it.
Mm.
It's great, man. Alex Garland written. The soundtrack is terrific. Third act is a little weird, but it's almost like you have this feeling throughout the movie like that, like there's going to be some kind of like horrific shit that happens, or some horror element. Like there's this kind of like uneasiness that's going on. You're seeing the crew sitting around a table eating the meal like in the spaceship, and you can't see that and not think of Alien.
Totally.
Yes.
So it's like you're kind of wound up for it. It's almost like they were like, yeah, fuck it, let's go with something weird.
Yeah.
It's problematic, but it doesn't. I don't know. I've just come to accept it
Sure.
for what it is. Yeah.
I'll drop an early nugget. And did you notice that the meal that they were all eating at the table was an all edges lasagna?
Excellent
No, I did
bit
not.
of show lore, Chad.
How long are you going to keep up the Matt Pinfield?
Kev, you got to stop that, please.
Why, Jarhigo?
You're just going to go for it?
Because if you continue doing it, then I'm going to continue doing it.
That is the reason why I'm going to continue. Suck you into the black hole of Matt Pinfield.
I also will continue.
And then it will never stop for the rest of the life of this show. Jarhigo and I channeling Matt Pinfield.
In our last episode
quit.
of In This Episode Everybody Dies, the boys do Matt Pinfield for an hour.
I quit.
Oh my God.
Haven't had one of those in a
folks,
while.
we've
Nice.
already got some 2023 show drama. Jarhigo's quitting the show.
Yeah, well, the title
Okay.
this one like a YouTube thumbnail, but like, you won't believe what happened when you listen to the show.
There you go. That's a perfect title. That should be like every week. Echoes the title of the show.
They're leaving
The
me!
name of the show.
Exclamation point, question mark.
The clickbaity thumbnail.
Yeah, dog.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? I mean, seems to work for most people.
Why not?
Right? All right. Due to Jarhigo's request, I'm going to stop talking like Matt Pinfield.
Sounds great.
I really don't sound like Matt Pinfield. I sound like the guy from Gangland.
As played by
Did you ever watch-
Pinfield.
You ever watch Gangland?
Nope.
Oh my God, great show. Terribly cheesy, but great. It's all about gangs.
And land.
Yeah, but the guy's like he's like super dramatic. It's like Matt Pinfield, but like super dramatic. He's like, Hartford, Connecticut, 1999. Paco Sanchez, alias Shitface, was
Now that-
doing time for running coke and bitches.
Now that you've given us your Gangland high level, you want to do the Sunshine high level?
No. All right, so I can't echo what you both said because this movie was not a movie that I saw like when it came out. This was a movie that I heard about when I was hanging out with you nerds back in the day. And you guys were like, dude, you just see Sunshine, man. It's better. And I was like, okay. So I went and I
You're like,
think
hang on, I gotta watch Red
watched it.
Dawn and Roadhouse a few more times first. It's on my list.
Yeah, right. So after I did that, then I watched Sunshine, and great science fiction film. What can I say, man? This is certainly at the time something different. I think like Chad said, it was like kind of no pew pew lasers, and that was great because that was definitely tired, and it was time for something new and different and interesting. And we had already gotten The Matrix, which was definitely very interesting and different. So. I only watched it like one time though. So I think the last time I watched it was with Benny over at Booch's years ago. And I was definitely psyched to watch it again, man. Like this is a great movie. There's no question about it. Like it's even though it's like Garland wrote it and didn't direct it, like it's got the same kind of feel, as like some of the Garland stuff that we've done. And excellent, super dramatic score, man, that just like is its own force in the movie, no question about it. Visuals amazing, acting incredible, big fan of pretty much every actor in this movie. I really like Hiroyuki Sanada. That guy
he's
is
awesome.
great, man. He's been in a bunch of great stuff. Like it wasn't that great of a movie, but 47 Ronin he was in. And he pops up in a bunch of different places, man. He's great. He was in Lost, Last Samurai. Yeah, exactly. So he's an excellent Japanese actor, and of course Benedict Wong when he was a much trimmer lad. And great to see Chris Evans, man. I liked Chris Evans before he was Captain America. I think Captain America just kind of launched him all the way to Jupiter, but he was a great actor before that. So.
Yeah.
Great to see Chris, and of course Cillian Murphy's excellent, man. So
It's Killian.
great. Did I say it wrong? Killian?
Killian.
Is it Killian?
Yeah, dog.
Sorry, man, and sorry to Killian because you are a friend of the show. Yeah, excellent all the way around. I would like to start after the high level of kind of unpacking this third act thing because I'm not really
Do it.
getting what you guys are laying down. So why don't we just use that as a segue and unpack the third act? So explain to me what it is about the third act that is troublesome to the two of you.
Pinbacker, pretty much.
Yeah. The whole thing. It just turns into a slasher movie, basically. Is the highest level complaint people have. It goes from sci-fi into slasher, last girl, murder, slasher.
Right.
People have a pretty big problem with it, and I get it.
Okay. Before I sort of rebut or reply or rebute, what
Ferris Butte.
What would you have rather seen in the third act? Or what do you think would have worked better?
Yeah. I there's this dude, Mikey Newman, I think is his name. He's a real super niche YouTuber. And he's got this Movies with Mikey channel, and he does the most amazing videos. And he kind of doesn't get any traction on any of them, and so I think he's kind of really slowed down and or stopped making them, but like seriously puts in some serious fucking effort into these videos. And he did one on Sunshine like 7 years ago. And I watched it before jumping on, which I'm glad I did because I really, really appreciate his point of view. He does like really cool essays, and he kind of talks about how he likes the film and sees it as kind of like a meta piece on the hubris of man and our trying to stop our own extinction, and how that's like really fucking big up ourselves, and how, you know, the sun is God and Pinbacker or whatever his name is represents the devil, and, you know, man, in this case, Cillian Murphy, is essentially Icarus, the one man who flies close to the sun and wins instead of loses. And so there's some really interesting thoughts there that really kind of changed my mind. But if we just kind of remove that for a moment, I think it goes from a tense kind of ratcheting of drama, how to save the world, crew dynamic problems, you know, Wong fucks shit up and ends up becoming suicidal. There's a lot of really interesting things going on, and like, how do you value a human life and who is more valuable than the other against all of humanity? And then it just turns into the dude, you know, sneaks aboard a ship and blows up an airlock and runs around with a fucking scalpel. And it just kind of knocks the, I don't know, intelligence level of the movie down a few notches, I think, in a lot of people's eyes. I don't know if I agree with that now, but that's kind of how I felt previously. And so I think that, like, that seems to be the issue. What would I have liked to have seen differently? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'd rather just say I don't know, but it's one of those, you know it when you see it, and I tend to understand and sympathize with people that say that it got knocked from a higher brow thing into a slasher movie, maybe. So that's maybe where I would leave that. Benny, do you have any thoughts on what you think would have been done different? Or I can't think of anything.
Nope. I don't have anything there. I just know that it kind of throws a monkey wrench into the story.
Yeah,
that's happening up until that point. You know, like nothing that happened before really, you know, matters. Like the Wong situation, trying to figure out how they're going to make the oxygen last, and like who gets to live and who gets to die, and you know, just like everything they've tried to do up until that point just kind of gets like it doesn't even matter anymore.
It gets sidelined.
It all gets sidelined to deal with. And I mean, I guess it's just, if you think about it, it's Pinbacker is just another thing that goes wrong essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
But I guess, you know, it's like the change in tone, the change in film style, like suddenly there's all these like really weird, blurry, like, you know, shaky sort of like shots, and you know, it gets really hard to tell what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, that was kind of annoying. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it just feels like a little bit of a mismatch tonally from everything that happens before it, and I don't know what would be better or not. And honestly, I don't even mind it anymore. I've really just kind of come to accept it for what it is. Yeah, but it just is kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always accepted it for what it was, so it didn't really bother me. I was just like, oh, okay, well, this is what it is, you know? And it's like, you know, the guy's clearly, like, gone insane, and, you know, he's kind of going on about talking to God and this, that, and the third, and, you know, I don't know, like, I did. I mean, are elements of it that I did find, like the blurriness, and some of the camera work around that point. That was kind of frustrating. In fact, at one point I was like, oh wow, the quality of this digital copy is not that great. And then I was like, oh wait, no, that's not it. It's intentional. Yeah. It's supposed to be like that. So I was like, okay. And then so that being said, sorry, I've accepted it for what it was, I think, straight away from the first watching. Again, I've only watched this like 3 or 4 times, but I mean, there's enough going on that you don't necessarily need to add that element to it. You know what I mean? Like Interstellar has a lot of similar elements where it's like, down to like everything has to be to the atom and, in terms of calculation and how they're doing everything, and it's like, things go wrong, and that creates enough tension in the story and makes it fantastic. You know what I mean? And makes it, kind of gripping your chair. You know what I mean? Like when he's trying to dock with the module there once they go through the black hole and all of that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of similar elements happening here, even though this movie came out, literally like 10 years before it. Like things like resources and so forth, and how we're going to, fix this and get there. And then, there's enough in the story, like dumping the payload, sacrificing themselves, the whole repair thing on the outside of the shield. Like, it's like, why did that need to be there? I haven't really thought about it until right now, since you guys brought it up. But I think that you could have gone fine without having the excursion to Icarus 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or the excursion Icarus 1 happens, but there's no Pinbecker or whatever.
Or exactly, yeah. So you've got that's a curiosity in and of itself.
The rest of everything just plays out. They lose the dude because he has to open the airlock, and like maybe just something goes wrong with the airlock and the ships separate instead of like Pinbacker actually initiates that, and then you just finish the movie from that point. I guess would be fine,
Yeah, right. Because there's a lot of logic. Like they go through the logic in the film itself. Like when Cliff Curtis is saying, like, well, okay, if we go there and we have 2 payloads now instead of 1 payload, if it totally screws up and does nothing, then we can try it again. You know what I mean? So like that's enough logical reason from a story point of view to go there and add that element of the story. And it's like, again, like what Ben just said, it's like you've just removed the sort of like, I am God, I am a burnt-faced God, psychopath running around with a scalpel and a jar of Vaseline, it would have been fine to just cut all that out of there, man. You know what I mean? So
I think if they did do that, it's essentially Gravity with Sandra Bullock and Clooney, where it's like they go into space, a bunch of shit goes wrong, a bunch of sacrifices, somebody survives, or thing happens at the end, which I think would have been fine. But I suppose reflecting on this Movies with Mikey essay, I feel like this Pinbecker thing stays because Garland, I tend to buy the idea that Garland wants to set it up so that it's like the bad part of humanity trying to stop saving the race is a factor, and that character represents that. And it may have been handled poorly, but seems to be the reason it stays.
I think, I lost my train of thought. Somebody else talk.
Well, I just said that it seems like with Garland, the character of Pinbecker is what represents the bad part of humanity that would stop us trying to save ourselves because we don't deserve to be saved, kind of thing. And like, while it might have been handled poorly, it seems to be where he was going with that thread,
Sure. And is that not enough to make a great story and a great movie? I think is the question here, without adding in Freddy Krueger's goofy cousin,
his meth head uncle.
His meth head uncle, in Chad parlance, meth head uncle, in my parlance, goofy cousin, to come in there and add more tension to it, because sometimes more tension just doesn't need to be there. It's like you've already got problems, you know what I mean, and you're kind of on the edge of your seat already. It's like, why do you need more stuff in there to, add more tension that doesn't need to be there? I don't know.
Yeah.
What other movies has this guy done? I didn't even look that up.
Who, Garland? Or
no, we know what Garland's done. What has Boyle done?
Trainspotting, 28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire.
Ooh.
For example.
Oh, The Beach.
The Beach, yeah. That was a Garland as well.
Ooh, that was Garland also, yeah.
Garland adaptation.
Steve Jobs. 28 Days Later was freaking great.
Dude, it's one of the best zombie movies. It's probably the best zombie movie there is, man.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it's definitely great.
I have a lot of time for that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I mean, Train Spotting, dude. Talk about a fucking home run for your
I
debut
have
or
still
whatever.
to this day never seen that movie.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Wow.
I think it was another one of those, like, I got
Pearl Jam?
so... What's that?
Pearl Jam?
Yeah, it was a Pearl Jam. I got so sick of people talking about it. They were like, dude. I was like, shut up, man. I've never seen... Now I will never watch that movie.
Never again.
In the annals of nerddom, it is now cursed.
Hang on, let me go throw my Airborne DVD in.
Hang on, let me go express my disgust on the internet. Anyway, so yeah, never seen Train Spotting.
Yo, before we shift too far, I saw, the shaky cam kind of blurry shit with Freddy Krueger's meth head cousin. Totally with you guys that it was disorienting. And then I stumbled upon like a 15-minute YouTube video of a bunch of deleted scenes, and one of them was kind of like a scene in the bomb where, like, very much like Blade Runner, where it's like Tears in the Rain, like they're talking to each other before they have their fucking final fight, and there is no kind of blurry shit, and it looks like absolute dog shit. So seeing the Freddy Krueger dude more in focus, it was just like, this looks stupid and fake movie magic bullshit. So maybe, blurring it out kind of made it more abstract as a villain, as opposed to just seeing some dude in a bunch of makeup and being like, these effects suck. Because they did do that exact thing with the audio outside in space. They made a decision to have audio in space because silent, it just looked like really bad special effects. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same kind of thing here.
Okay.
Totally with you that it's disorienting a bit, but I think that might be the reason why.
Cool,
man.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I never understood how Pinbacker was alive. Like,
yeah,
if he had been like ODing in the sunroom with all of his dead compatriots like every day or whatever, and that's why his skin is all fucked up. And like, it only takes somebody like holding his arm to like rip all the skin off of it.
Right.
Like, what? How the hell was he surviving? Like, he didn't have any food. Like, like it's just.
I do like the idea of Freddy Krueger, like fully fucking burn unit dude, like sitting in the kitchen eating a bowl of cereal, like trying to fucking stay alive, just like taking a shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just like,
I guess you're just not supposed to question it, but it just seems like.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Tending his garden.
Like, an
shit.
argument could be made that like maybe they go to Icarus 1 earlier and they find Pinbacker alive, and he's like, oh, like they rescue him basically.
Yeah.
And he's just like a normal dude, but sort of like Sam Neill in Event Horizon sort of becomes this like, evil figure that's trying to fuck shit up. And instead of like shit just going wrong, he's sort of the cause of everything. But like finding him, all burnt and mangled and like, somehow still alive, and and then having all these weird blurry, 7 years later, all these weird blurry, fucking out of focus scenes going on. Like, I don't know. It's just it's what they did. But once you start trying to pick holes, pick at it a little bit, it just seems to kind of fall apart.
So what you're saying is once you pick
it's like
at
a
it
dry
a little bit, his
scab. It just
entire
comes
arm
right
falls
off, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once you start pulling on the hand, the whole skin
whole
of the arm
fucking
just
arm
slips right off.
sleeves.
Ugh. Yeah, I can't stop thinking about Chad in the Expanse episode when he was like, melted face sea captain.
That's it, man. I mean,
talking about what's his face?
The Lucky
David
Charms dude.
Strathern.
What was his name,
Frosted
dude?
Lucky
Yes.
Charms. They're magically delicious.
I just can't get over the idea of Freddy Krueger gardening and like fucking picking carrots and shit to like feed himself for 7 years.
Well, that's the
He just
thing,
like puts
man,
on a
is it-
sun hat and he's just like out there like weeding. He's like, I love gardening.
I mean, two things I'll say to that. All that, like, it would be really funny to see like a short film called Pinbacker that just kind of showed like what he did in the 7 years
shit.
between.
It's like
right?
taking
Yeah,
a
exactly.
dump, reading
Like
a book.
exactly, man. You know, like all of that, practicing murdering, whatever it was. You know, but like the other, then, and on a serious note, like. And this is just sort of poking more holes in it, which is like, you know, they go aboard the ship and it's like there's 8 inches of dust from 7 years on literally everything. Nothing's been disturbed. The oxygen
just
garden.
Like the back room at the Wing Kong Exchange.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Benny. I was going to go there too. And then, you know, the oxygen garden is 7 years of unchecked growth. I'm quoting from the movie, right? So the guy. Harvey goes in there and he gets, you know, basically caught in the jungle. It's so damn thick. And it's like nothing's been harvested. Nothing's been eaten. Nothing's been done at all. Like, what has the guy been doing, man? Reading comics in his bunk? I mean, come on, dude. Has he been surviving off his own hatred? I mean, you know what I mean? So
he's been exfoliating, man. That's how he got all that dust in the place.
He was molting like a snake, right?
He's got a skincare regimen that he needs to stick to.
There you go. So this is kind of making me more upset now about this movie because this is really dumb. You know, it's like why don't now? I'm like, why was all that crap in there? I don't know.
I think
before we started the episode, I didn't even care.
You're now you're sassy. It's fair enough.
Now I'm all like, you know, dust in the Wing Kong Exchange, dude. What's up?
You saw some fresh trash cans and now you're pissed.
I saw some brand new garbage cans out back and was like, wait a minute.
Fucking hang on a second. This makes no sense.
Yeah, totally.
But the reason they made the camera shaky and, you know, everything all blurry when they showed the trash cans is because they looked too new.
That's it. That's exactly it. It's the only way to show it.
Straightly shot, yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I hate this movie.
It wasn't the ejection seat grenade sequence with a 15-minute fuse on the grenade, a la Die Hard 2. It was the trash cans.
Yes, it was the trash cans.
Yeah, well, that's probably not the most egregious, like, you know, goofy decisions made in a movie that we've covered so far. I'm sure there's been worse.
Yeah,
no doubt.
But it is kind of a don't look at it. Really, don't think about
close.
it. Just accept it.
And I think the don't look too close is exactly what I was saying before with the budget stuff, because I guess they wanted to make a second ship in terms of sets and change it drastically, but they didn't have the budget, so they just decided to cover it in dust. And so I feel like the shaky cam stuff, the audio on the exterior special effects looking like shit. I feel like the budget constraint was probably a huge factor here. So I feel like it's a little bit more forgivable when you consider the budget constraints, but I could see how you could take the other side and just be like, nah, it was dumb. Because Garland tends to write stories for story's sake, not necessarily how it's going to be turned into film. And I guess they had a little bit of differing opinions in the making, but they were fine about it.
Sure.
His shit's very meta, generally.
Definitely meta, dude.
So keeping the Pinbacker in,
Garland,
keeping the baddie in, and like man versus himself shit is very meta and very him. So
totally Garland, dude. But that's what we like about Garland.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
You know, he's just he's good like that. You know, like, but that's what I think is the essence of really good science fiction. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. You know, it's always sort of mirroring the human condition, man, or it's a commentary on human behavior or the human condition or whatever, you know, and it's like, I think that's what really speaks to fans of science fiction, man, you know, so it could be said that Alex Garland is science fiction.
Yeah, maybe not. There was a cool quote by Danny Boyle
probably not.
That would fit here, where he said, he says there's two branches of sci-fi. There's fantasy sci-fi, which is about like creatures, so like Star Wars and stuff.
Sure.
And then there's a much narrower corridor in which there are films that we regard as the great masterpieces like 2001 and Solaris, the original, and Alien, etc.
Okay.
They break down really simply to a ship, a crew, and a signal, which I thought was a really interesting idea.
I like that. Yeah,
it does feel like there are those kind of two pathways. And this totally echoes, like you were saying, Benny, it totally echoes Alien at time to time. It totally echoes, you know, other movies in the area. 2001. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's oversimplifying things. But
sure, but it's an interesting idea.
However you get there, I guess.
However you need to do it to make it easier in your mind, Chad, that's fine with us.
There you go.
Okay.
You know,
I had forgotten just how fucking hardcore awesome the cast was. There's like some serious people in this thing.
Well, I think, again, like, very similar to some other Garland works that we've talked about and Falling Down, which we just did. It's that combination of excellent writing and excellent execution by the actors that really just brings this home. You know what I mean? So you can have a group of people in, what's essentially a psychodrama with, there's a hole in the hull of the ship, and it's riveting, man, and it's attention grabbing, and you're completely wrapped to it, the entire time, man. I love that,
Yeah, and more broadly, I just forgotten that Chris Evans and Michelle Yeoh were in it at all. So I was like, oh yeah.
I forgot about. No, I didn't forget Michelle Yeoh. I forgot Chris Evans was in it. I definitely forgot that Rose Byrne was in it. And I thought that the guy, one of the Asian guys, was Wong, but I wasn't sure. And then, of course, I looked it up, and it was.
Yeah, he was super.
So, yeah, my God, really solid. What else?
I don't know.
I don't know either, man.
I was afraid we were going to get really stuck on the third act problem.
No, we can get through it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was worth talking about, and I think that we've gotten beyond it. Yes, I don't know really where to go from here. I mean, we sort of touched on the soundtrack, and I can try to expound on that. I think that there's something to be said. This is an excellent score. I wouldn't really compare it to Interstellar.
No.
Because that's a great score too, but only
pretty solid, though.
In the sense that it's so powerful and it's playing a part in the film or in telling the story or accentuating the story very loudly and kind of not, in your face. You know what I mean? As opposed to scores that are working in the background and you don't even notice them. You know what I mean? So in that respect, I think it's a fair comparison, and I think it's really, really excellent, man. And the music has a very, even though I hate the word epic now, it has a very epic feel to it, which is great, in the most sort of literal sense of the definition of the word, and it does a really good job of accentuating that kind of, living on the literal edge of oblivion, that's what I really liked about it, because these people are all essentially going to die, delivering this payload to the Earth, which is basically already dead. You know what I mean? So for me, that's sort of what the soundtrack evokes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Me,
They kind of abandoned the round trip thing relatively early. Which I appreciated.
They did.
The whole movie could have been about the return journey, but it's like they just pulled a pin on that pretty quick, which I liked.
Yeah, I like that too, actually. And we can circle back to that in a minute. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on the soundtrack, because I read about and you both mentioned, or at least Chad did, the band Underworld, and it's very cinematic. I mean, the soundtrack to me, in my memory anyway, is very cinematic in its score. I'm not. Yeah. Wasn't remembering anything, or I'm not remembering right now anything that was very much like a contemporary music band. But I could just be completely blown out. So.
Yeah, I mean, Underworld's electronic, so that's going to be a factor. It's not instrumental, generally speaking. And I guess they improvised most of it, and then sent it on to this John Murphy, and he kind of put some orchestral shit on it and changed it up. So. I mean, like,
who did
Underworld as an electronic group? I mean, they're pretty legendary. They would probably almost certainly be in like a electronic Hall of Fame kind of thing, just in terms of I would say, in terms of like how big they were back in the day. But they've always been a huge favorite of mine. Like, I actually listened to like 3 of their albums this week working. It's great working music. So,
let me ask you a quick question. What
I still play, but I think the last time I DJ'd, and I pretty much retired from that, but the last time I did, I played Cowgirl.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. It's a great track.
Nice.
It's like ostensibly ancient.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right.
At this point.
That was the one that was in Hackers, I think, right? Is that Cowgirl? I think so.
93. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was or not. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's great
Not
stuff.
up on my hackers lore, Chad. So
What were you, come on, man. Get with the program.
what I was gonna say was we did. Oh my God, what was the show or movie we did where it was? I could be getting this wrong. Was it Trent Reznor and Atticus Finch?
Did we do the Vietnam War doco? Because that was one, and they also did Watchmen. It was Watchmen.
That was it. Watchmen. Is that right? Atticus Finch, or is it Atticus something else?
Atticus Finch is from To Kill a Mockingbird, isn't it?
Thank you. Okay, so I did get that wrong. I'm gonna take a death.
I like that death.
We need a death.
It's a literary death.
We need a death.
Atticus
and a literary
Ross.
death
Yeah,
is
Atticus
good.
Ross.
That's it. Atticus Ross.
I love it.
You know, there aren't a whole lot of Atticuses out there, right?
That's true, yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Just pour salt in the wound bed. That's fine.
Salt Bay that shit.
No, I'm saying it would be easier to fuck it up because of that.
I love it. Yeah, we were talking about it surrounding the Watchmen series, and then I think in that episode I mentioned the Vietnam War Ken Burns, which they also did.
Yeah, I don't remember, but whatever. I believe you.
I believe you.
I believe you.
It turns out that the dude...
I still believe.
I believe in life after love.
Oh, don't start, dude. I'll throw that at the end of the show, man. It's so good, man. I want to hear it right now that you mentioned it. It's just that good. Talk about an epic track.
No doubt.
And a greased physique.
Michael McDonald?
Wait, what?
No.
Is it Michael McDonald?
No.
Oh, I was
Michael
thinking What a Fool
McDonald.
Believes. That's a death.
Dude, what? That is a very large death, dude. You're confusing I Still Believe from
With
Tim
the Doobie
Capella.
Brothers.
Let's do a mashup.
with the Doobie Brothers, dude. Oh, snap. I'm feeling a mashup coming on.
I mean, it was with Chewbacca the last time, so.
Oh, that was just something special, man. We got to add the Chewie back in there for this. All right, so Chad gets a...
Just gonna keep adding layers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Exactly, man.
Tim
So
Capella.
how would the mashup name be? You got What a Fool Believes and I Still Believes. How about What a Fool Still Believes?
There you go.
I love
What
it.
a Wookiee still believes.
Ooh, that might be even better. We're talking about yacht rock, baby.
Dude, I love Yacht Rock.
That was a great and one of the first YouTube shows.
What about What a Fur Believes? Furball.
Ooh,
Used
there
to
you
call
go.
him Furball. What a Fur Believe. You've got to be able to auto-tune Michael McDonald into Chewie. That would just be glorious.
Oh, God, that would be great, man. Apology accepted, Captain Nita.
Love it.
Yeah, good.
Ah, yes, Lord Vader. We're moving out of light speed.
So anyways, fucking sit in front of the sun window.
Sorry. Reenactment of Empire Strikes Back, 141.
Was that you reenacting the death of Captain Nita, or are you doing a nip of Fireball?
That actually wasn't Captain Nita. That was the guy at the beginning that ended up losing his job to Admiral Captain Piet. Oh, boy. All right. Nerd out over.
I thought I'd have more to say here, but like I don't know. I feel like we covered it.
I thought I'd have more to say, but I really don't care.
Well, I do care. I don't know. I just feel like
No, I do care.
we covered it. It's
Yeah.
a fucking solid movie that has some weird bits and bobs in it, but
Yeah. Chick-fil-A and a bag of fries, dude. We're done.
basket of fries, bag of fries,
Bag of fries.
Joy bag of donuts,
Yeah. Ooh, there you go.
bits and bobs. Then
Let's do some bits and bobs. I would like to start.
Start then.
I'm not going to go chronologically. So I really, really liked. I mean, it's not like anything amazing, okay? But in terms of like, what happens in the scene. But when Chris Evans goes in to manually sort of reload the mainframe in the coolant, man, was just really intense. I mean, there's a lot of intense parts in this movie, but I don't know what it was. Like that particular sequence, man, really just got me this time. And well played by Cap. He just, I was just feeling that, climbing into the icy coolant, man, and just barely being able to move, getting half of his body out to warm up enough just so we could go back in and do it more, really, really liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Great stuff there. Great work by Chris, too.
And his character put his money where his mouth was, like he was the voice of reason throughout the whole movie, even though he was like a total prick.
Yes.
He seemed like a total prick, but he was fucking right the whole time.
No, I never really got him as a prick. Just like, the sort of the pragmatist, like this is the mission. This is what we're supposed to do. Stop jerking around. Like we don't need to go get a freaking milkshake on the Icarus one,
Yeah, but then earlier on, though, it's like, they get into a fist fight or some shit. The apology. He's like, I'm apologizing here. There's just silence. Like, was that it? Yeah, that was it.
Was that it? Yeah,
like, all right, man.
And he was like, Chad, I'm not going to fight you.
Exactly. It was funny. Like, he was a bit of a prick, but.
No, he wasn't a prick at all. You're a prick.
You're a prick.
I'm not going to fight you, dude.
More of a peckerhead,
There you
Yeah, okay. I'll get down with that. I'll get
More
down
of a
with
bell
that.
end.
Whoa. That's a little too far. Let's come back left a little bit. Anyway, next, anybody else? Bit and or Bob?
Robert.
I mean, the whole thing kind of pivots around the shield repair scene. That's pretty epic.
That was cool.
Yeah,
man.
really good.
That's like that's why you came to see the movie, right? Like, pretty sure there was a good chunk of that stuff in like the trailer, etc. Those crazy suits.
Dude, those suits were so cool.
I was going to comment on the suits as well.
Yeah.
Excellent design. This is another great science fiction movie where, the writers and the director consulted actual real scientists. And I like that. I like when they do that kind of research and then they kind of extrapolate beyond that, you know what I mean? And add elements of, fantasy, as it were, or fiction, as it were. So, yeah, the suits were very interesting and cool, man. They had a kind of a, I don't know, almost like a...
it was like a welding helmet meets diving bell.
I was going to... Yeah, exactly. I was going to say like those old diving suits with the massive metal round heads, you know what I mean? Like they were very reminiscent of that, but with, like what you said, Chad, like a welding kind of bent to it.
It was cool. They were one of the cooler spacesuits I've seen in a while.
But like a cool spacesuit with a very specific use case,
super practical.
Here's your regular spacesuit, and here's your spacesuit for when you're operating in 8,000 degrees Kelvin, you know what I mean, or whatever. It was really good.
Those little like magnetic box floating light things that they were using were pretty cool too. Like the devices were really well crafted.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, it's definitely a highlight, that scene for sure, Benny. I agree.
Yeah, neat tech, lots of cool like in the helmet sort of shots where like you can see their heads up display that's like showing the crew, like the other crew member, and like
yeah.
I guess that's
and there's like sweating,
Yeah, exactly. I guess that scene with Cillian Murphy when he trips and falls over on his way out and like gets really frustrated and is like smashing his head against the helmet because he can't like get back up again. I guess he didn't know this at the time, but he was in the suit and Boyle had a whole bunch of crew members like pushing on the back so he couldn't get up, and so that's why he was getting so pissed off. He was just like, wow. It was really clever that they captured how frustrated he was. That was cool.
I like that. Yeah, very good, very cool, very groovy, baby.
Groovy, baby.
Yeah.
What I would like to, as we tend to do, it hasn't become like a segment, but it might as well be talking about
movie?
That definitely needs to be a segment, dude.
And here's the part of the show where Kev talks about something random.
I love how everybody does it, but you single me out.
Yeah, totally. It's my job.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Maybe you guys, should I take a break so you guys can make fun of me?
Yeah. Walk away for a bit. Go for a drive. You can watch a movie.
Yeah, there you go. Safety third, man. Okay, so I wanted to comment on the, or just, sort of touch on the ship itself, right? So we're always down with cool crafts, and this was a very interesting craft. I really, and the one thing I didn't understand or I wasn't sure about was, is the craft capturing energy, from the massive shield as well as it shielding them from the intense heat of the sun?
I don't think so.
Number one. Number two, I found that design, while it wasn't like, anything kind of crazy in terms of like inventiveness, I definitely thought it was cool. And I thought it was interesting that they had like such an absolutely massive ship with like multiple spinning centrifugal gravity sort of situations, in the ship. It was massive, man. Like the payload obviously would take up a lot of space, but it was a cool ship. I liked it, man. I like what they did with that, It
was super cool. and then it was identical. I like how they just like lost the first ship and they're like, fuck, we need to do this again. Let's just make another one.
Build another one.
They didn't even like have time to improve it or whatever, which was interesting.
Right? I know. They were like, well, do we have enough money? Have we wasted enough money or can we build another one? Well,
just do
the
another
whole planet's about to die. Yeah, let's just do another one.
Well, it's like one of those, scenarios where I forget. I think it was like maybe it was in not Gravity, Interstellar, where like they built one ship, but like they just built two because it was economically, it just makes sense. Like you can build one for a certain amount, or you can build two for like just a little bit more, essentially.
That's it.
Or maybe you're thinking of
kind of makes sense that they would have, the same design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right on. That's
why reinvent the wheel.
We should do Contact at some point because that's a great science fiction movie. But one of the lines from John Hurt in that movie is, "Why build one when you can build two for twice the price?" Talking about that cool, sort of whatever it was, wormhole generator, centrifugal spinny thing.
Right.
That was the technical term for it.
There you go. Yeah, centrifugal spinny thing.
The original fidget spinner.
Hidden inside the transmission is the plans for a centrifugal spinny thing. It'll only cost $8 trillion. Good times. All right, what other bits and bobs, folks?
The scene where they're discussing whether they're going to kill Trey, Benedict Wong's character, or not, was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was cool. That was a good scene too, man.
And how Roseburn doesn't give him the vote, but he's just like, fuck it, I gotta do it anyways. A lot of those scenes are really well written. The making a decision, tension, argument scenes.
Well, that was what was, I think that's part of what the killer combo in this movie is, man, is that you have scenes like that. This movie, I really enjoyed Rose Byrne's performance in this. She was very... I don't recall another performance by her in anything that I've seen that was quite like this and quite as good, actually. I thought this was really, really excellent, man. I liked the way she played it. And I think I'm only really able to say that this time since I've seen so many things that she's done since this came out and now. So, yeah, really enjoyed that. And I'll definitely echo what you just said there, Chad. That's a really, really great comment. And even similarly, the scene where they're, kind of deciding whether they should go to Icarus One, Cliff Curtis is like laying down this whole thing. I thought that was really excellent too.
Yeah, Cliff Curtis.
Yes.
Cliff Curtis had a really interesting kind of flavor in here too. Like his character, I think, is worthy of a bit more Bob in terms of just like he's the psych who kind of walks around talking to people all the time, but is still like obsessed with and getting his skin starting to fucking fall off and turn into a gardening Freddy Krueger. So.
Yeah, I really, really like that guy, and I really
gardening Freddy Krueger. I like that.
Well, he wouldn't even have to go and get tools. He just use his claws, pull weeds out.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if like the finger knives were like he had a thumb knife too that was the other half of the pruners, kind of.
Yeah, or like his middle finger's like a little shovel.
Or like similar to the Leathermans, he's got like his different gloves, right? Like one of the this is my glove for murdering children in their sleep, and then this is my glove for gardening, right?
And inspired by Batman, this is my glove for ships in a bottle.
Freddy Krueger, Jesus Christ. Freddy Krueger Weatherman gardening glove.
Dude, I'm so into it.
I love that.
And he had to like prepare food and shit too, so he would totally have like a cooking glove, like a spatula.
Ooh, yeah, there you go.
Dude,
one glove with various different knives, like one's a meat cleaver, one's a tenderizer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tomato knife.
If we made an Etsy fucking store that sold
it's a Ginsu.
a couple of these things, we'd sell a shitload of them.
Dude. I want to make that glove tomorrow and sell it on Etsy.
Taking a day off.
Taking a day off from my life.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's great. That is really, really great. God damn.
Cuts through a can, then still slices through a tomato.
Can slice tomatoes, yes. Exactly. I was going to just stick on Cliff Curtis for a second because I think he is a underrated actor and such a great talent, man. He's so memorable in Training Day, and really excellent in just like everything you see him in. And he's such a chameleon, man. He's one of those like I don't even know like where he's from, like or where his people are from, like in terms of
Kiwi.
his like. Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's crazy, dude. I was positive he was from like some Latin American country or Central American country. So that just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because he's so convincing, man, as one of the Latino gang guys in Training Day, man. But,
totally.
And then he also played Escobar in Blow, and I think it was Escobar, right? And then he just keeps popping up in all these places, man. And he's a total chameleon. He's just excellent. So shout out to Cliff Curtis. Love that dude.
Yeah, man, he's great. He's in the new Avatar.
I was just gonna say that.
Are you for real?
I was just about to say, you'll be happy to know that he's in Avatar: Way of the Water.
Okay, so I'm not happy to know that. And I had to work up at the desk with my boss the other day for an hour or two, and he's a total movie nerd. The first thing out of his mouth, ironically enough, was not about dragon's milk, but it was because he's always going on about Game of Thrones, dude, and House of Dragons. It's so great to listen to, man. No, but these were the guys that made the dragons, dude.
All right, bud.
So great. Anyway, he starts talking about Way of Water, and I do the most massive eye roll ever. And he's like, dude, what's the problem? And I was like, what's the problem? I was like, did you not see Avatar 1? And he's like, what? The movie was so good. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, come on, dude. Aside from the visuals, I mean, the story is just like paper thin, been done 1,000 times. Oh yeah, but this is the real story. Now, with the Way of the Water, that was leading up to this, and that's the whole story. That was his whole argument. I was just like, yeah, not really feeling that, man.
Oh, no doubt, man.
Now I just want to see Way of Water more, dude.
Yeah. The best thing about Way of Water is I just saw a fucking quote from Dingleberry who was like, in Avatar 3, there's going to be fire Avatar. It's like, whoa, dude.
Oh, my
blow my fucking mind.
Yeah, he said that too.
No.
And then, yeah, and he was like, oh, now that we're going to find out about there are evil Na'vi on the planet of Pandora. And I was like, oh my God, please stop talking.
I love it. I love it so much.
All right, let's not do this new one because if we're gonna have to keep going back, I quit the podcast.
Wow.
I love how the dude spends like $60 billion mashing up Mario fire and water levels with fucking Dances with Wolves. It's like, dude.
Totally.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
I love it.
All right, so yeah, let's get off this. Any more bits and bobs related to the movie? Since I've done my usual great job of derailing.
I like the Sydney Opera House snow landscape ending scene.
Yes, me too.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, I never noticed that before this last viewing.
Yeah, me
Okay.
too.
I don't know why I never noticed it, but yeah.
It was cool, and I was doing some reading about the way they created the shot. It was really, really cool. It was just a composite of two shots. So like the actual shot with the actors was done in Stockholm, Sweden, and they just did a composite overlay with the opera house.
Nice.
So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Simple too, you know. I love when, you know, certainly science fiction directors are able to use like simple old techniques to create something to great effect, man. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I really admire that. So,
Yeah, despite some of the foibles here, like I think the effects in this movie were pretty solid.
oh man, excellent, dude. Absolutely excellent, dude. Unnoticeable and capably helping to tell the story in a great way.
Yes.
Feeling like we're at Nuggets.
Yeah, dude, I don't have any nuggets. Do you have any nuggets?
I don't either. I kind of dropped them, sprinkled them in as we went, so we can move right over to deaths. Unless Jarhigo has anything else.
Right over to the deaths. Yep.
Right over to the deaths. We only have two. They were good deaths, so I'm happy about that. But you know, numbers wise, we need to do some. We need to get some gains going here, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the literary Atticus Ross death, and then Chad had the what a fool still believes death.
Those are pretty good.
And those were great with good monikers as well. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
I don't know where we're at with the official Star Wars thing, but we did talk about Star Wars for a little while there.
Yeah. Okay.
I did see one nugget. I'll take a death for going backwards, where the spacesuits kind of hood was inspired by Kenny from South Park, which I thought was funny.
Oh, that's funny. I know. You will get that death.
Can we get some ratings then?
Yeah. Go ahead. Who wants to go first? Okay, everybody, don't jump up at once. I'll go first, I guess. I think this is an excellent movie, despite the appearance of Freddy Krueger's meth head cousin in this. I am going to give it a 8.36.
Okay.
Great movie, and in the annals of Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, and in science fiction in general. This is a great one.
There you go.
It should be on every science fiction fan's shelf.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's reasonable. This movie, for me, was already on the algo, and 5 is good and a 4 is borderline. So because of the issues in the third act, it couldn't get better than a 4.9 no matter what, and that's where it was. And then I feel like that Movies with Mikey video in particular helped crystallize my thoughts a bit, and so I feel like it's appropriate to move it up. So I moved it up to a 5.9. It's directly beneath both Prospect and Moon. I can't really justify putting it above Moon, and could potentially put it above Prospect, but I'm curious how you guys would view it against Moon, for example, because they're somewhat similar in indiness.
I mean,
and
it
budget.
doesn't matter because it's not going to change the algorithm.
No, it doesn't, but I'm just curious.
Is it better than Moon and Prospect? Prospect had a very cool original thing going on. They both did. I think those two stories are much more original than this story. You know, this is sort of like a, you know, end of the universe. Like this is our last ditch thing, which
Aerosmith song.
Yeah, while not totally common, it's definitely not brand new. And the idea of Moon and or the thread in Moon, the plot in Moon, and also in Prospect, I found to be I thought the strongest points of those movies were just the originality of the story. I just thought they were really, really great, you know? So, in that respect, I would say those two movies are ahead of this.
Word.
What
I
about
agree.
Benny?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8.
I like it.
I mean, Moon is really hard to beat Just,
Totally.
Sam Rockwell alone
Yeah.
is huge in that. He's just so excellent. And it's such a great, like, ramp for him to just do his thing on.
Totally.
Prospect, like, really blew my mind. Like, it was really cool and really different and really interesting. And I feel like this was maybe at the time a similar kind of thing. But I've seen newer, better Alex Garland written movies, and Danny Boyle's great, but it did not to take anything away from it. It's awesome. It was awesome for the time, I think. But the more I've watched it, the more I've sort of come to critique it a bit.
Yeah, there you go. All right, yeah,
it's still an excellent movie, and some of the better, definitely some of the better sci-fi of that era, that time.
And I think you said it well, Kev, with the everyone should have it on their shelf kind of thing.
Yeah, dude, for real.
Like, it's definitely worthy of being in everyone's stack of sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. If you're ahead, it's a must-have. It's a must-watch for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
Flawed as it is, it's still pretty brilliant.
No doubt. And a study in what a group of excellent actors can do with a script.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Well, there you have it, folks. Chad's Lab. What are we going to do next week?
Randomly, Ferris Bueller is on the list. I'm curious if you guys are interested in doing that.
I got to be honest with you, man. I was watching the end of this earlier, and I was like, man, I am just feeling like we ought to do almost like a freaking month of just straight up awesome science fiction movies, dude.
I'm down.
Like, this is a great one. Like, I had another one and popped into my head, and I can't remember what it was, but it was just a thought I had.
I think Pyburn was asking for Stargate.
Was he, or was it, or who suggested this? Was it somebody?
Pyburn did.
Oh, okay.
Pyburn suggested this.
All right, how about a month of Pyburn suggestions?
He'd be pumped.
Right? And then we'll have him over for dinner.
That's excellent.
That's great. I was thinking about some other great science fiction film that was kind of like...
Yeah.
2 words that get me all chubbed up is science and fiction.
Yeah.
Chad, right? Can't we do that? Am I thinking of that right?
Annihilation, 2010, Contact, Horizon.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Shit,
You
dude.
were talking about Minority Report.
Enemy Mine, Last Starfighter, Starman, Solaris.
I would say that. Yeah, Lucas good.
Oh, yeah.
Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr.
Yeah, I did mention that as I think in the Falling Down episode. That's a good one too.
Feed on ash, live on death.
Yeah. it's very
Yeah, let's
walking.
throw that on the list. That sounds interesting.
It's a classic to me. It's kind of
Yeah, me too. Let's growl.
Are we talking space science fiction here?
Would you say that Enemy Mine is a classic? I don't
I
think
just
I've ever
watched
seen it.
Starman recently. That was
We
great.
could just do Rain of Fire again.
2010 is awesome. It's a very different
Are you serious?
kind of a thing from 2001. I mean,
Are you serious?
it's not trying to be.
Weren't you
that.
guys really into heavy metal?
I would say that.
I love It's Walking.
It is. What is that?
fantasy?
Walkinisms?
Walkinisms.
I mean, sure. I really throw that more in an animation category.
Still
sci-fi. Yeah.
Event Horizon is sort of
Are you serious?
sci-fi horror, but
Requested a Next Generation movie. I was like, oh, dude, we do Punic Insurrection. It was like, oh, sick. Yeah, that's a death, but First Contact.
While you guys are deciding that, let's just say goodbye and I'll do the outro and then we'll finish this. All right, well, there you have it, folks. So thanks for joining us for Sunshine, and we will see you next week for our continued month of science fiction excellence. So long for now.
See ya.
see ya.
And that is going to wrap up this week's episode, folks, as we move into 2023. If you'd like to check out the show notes for this episode, as always, you can do so in your podcast app of choice or at our website, ebd.fm/episodes/190. If you'd like to support the show, there's a number of great ways to do so. You can always rate us and review us on iTunes or your various different podcast places that you would get your podcast. That's super helpful. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Also, tell a friend, check out the show. That works really good. And then, of course, you can always support us on Patreon, where you will receive absolutely nothing in return except this great free show that we do every week and that we've been doing for 3 years. And if you'd like to check us on social, join us on Instagram. We use @EBD Podcast everywhere we are, but we're mostly on Instagram, so join us there. And stay tuned for our continued month of science fiction excellence. So long for now, folks.
Beady. Stop into it.
Yes, I still believe through the shame, through the grief, through the heartache, through the tears, through the way, through the years. For people like us, in places like this, we need all the hope.